2 weeks ago, my son and I had a huge blow up. Now listen, this boy is 6'2", 240 pounds, 110. No, it's 110 kilos, yeah. And he postured up to me, and we were posturing up, and here's a 6'1" boy, and he's not happy with life, and not happy with my rules and my instructions, and not happy with me as his dad. And we got close, we got face to face, and here's a 16-year-old boy, and I'm going, what happened to my boy? What happened to this cute boy that I had 16 years ago? After everything had calmed down, we sat around and we were just chatting, and then this thought popped in my mind, and I'll talk to you about why I asked him these questions. But I said to him, Big Dan, what is it you don't like about me? And he was all sheepish and reserved, but I pushed him on it because I wanted to hear. Everything had calmed down. We weren't as excited as the couple of days before that, and I wanted to talk to him. I wanted to hear where his frustration was coming from. And he said to me, Dad, I don't like the following. And the one was, he doesn't like it because I don't admit when I'm wrong. And that was a big thing because I do admit when I'm wrong. But his perception was that when we argue, is that I stand my ground. I did a bit of research on adolescents and how they identify their relationship with their fathers in the middle adolescent years, between say 14 and 19, and they are trying to determine their own identity. And I was trying to work out how he doesn't understand that I do say that I'm wrong, or I acknowledge that I'm wrong. But in the moment, in the fact that he is trying to determine his own identity, he's challenging me on my own principles and my own arguments. And so the second thing that he disliked about me was that whenever he asks me questions, or whenever he has a discussion, for instance, the other day he asked me about Trump, and I went into this huge spiritual and biblical, moral and ethical consideration. And he said to me, Dad, you know what, hey, just give me your opinion. Don't make it about the Bible. Don't make it a huge spiritual conversation. Yeah, I thought I was doing the right thing. And yet my son wants me to talk to him, share my opinion, so that he can share his opinion and we can have these discussions. This was an eye-opener for me. I want to divulge a little bit about what I went through in this situation. 2 paths I could go down. One of 2 paths. There's 2 actions that I think we should take as dads, and then there's 2 results that I really believe that we can experience through this whole process. So let's get into it. When you sit with your son, or maybe not sit with him, but he tells you things that he doesn't like about you, there's 2 ways you can go around this, or go about this. The first path is to choose shame, bitterness, and resentment. The second path is release, resolve, and reconciliation. So the first path, if you're not going to accept your son's perception of who you are, then you can choose path 1. But gents, as your boys are getting older, as they're identifying their own spot in life and trying to distance themselves from the family, they're also determining or finding out what it's like to lose their innocence, their young perception of this world. And it's important for us as dads to release them from our judgment, to resolve the issue at hand. I forgive you, move on, resolved, and then reconcile. Because, gents, to move on with your son at this age, he's not your baby boy anymore. You are now turning him out into this world where he's now starting to face this world. And he's going to face it whether you like it or not. So do you want to contribute to his life, or do you want to be a hindrance? And here's 2 actions that we can do to facilitate this. And the first one is that as a more mature person, as a mature dad, we need to adapt quicker to those 2 paths. Choose one. Choose the release, resolve, and reconcile. But your first action is to adapt quicker because we're more mature. The second one is moving from rules to relationship. He's not 10 anymore. He's not 8. He's not 9. He's not, your relationship should move from a rule-based relationship, a rule-based scenario to a relationship-based environment. So, and what does that mean? When we were posturing up, and he was saying a couple of things that I didn't agree with, I didn't like, I was saying a couple of things that he didn't enjoy. We need to move from rules to relationship. However, I'm still the dad. This is my home. And there are rules or consequences that must be enacted if you break some rules. So I'm not saying that we forego all the rules, but we need to move from a rule-based environment to a relational-based environment as this boy gets to 16, 17, 18. Consequences will still stand. But we need to have the opportunity to have a discussion with this boy. Hence why I asked him why or what he didn't like about me. Now hopefully you'll get 2 results out of this. If you choose one of those 2 paths, if you take those 2 actions, hopefully you'll get these 2 results. First of all, you'll be more vulnerable. Now dads, guys, I know, we've got our own issues. We've got our own father issues. Maybe your father's alive. Maybe he's not alive. Maybe you haven't resolved certain issues. Maybe he's gone. He just doesn't want to talk. He doesn't want to accept responsibility for whatever you feel that he's hurt you with. I have to be the best dad that I can be. I cannot blame my father for my shortcomings or my issues. And I cannot allow them, although it's very difficult, I know, try not to allow them to affect your son or the relationship you have with your son. So of the 2 results, the first one is a more vulnerable dad, a more vulnerable me, asking my son of his opinion of me in a calm environment. The second result is I saw a more sensitive side to my son, very different to the previous days or a couple of days before when he was really getting up in my face. A really sensitive boy. Because this was the first time he had to now articulate some of the emotion about his judgment of me. And so I saw a sensitive side to my son where he didn't want to hurt my feelings. He said, "No, Dad, I don't want to say this and that." And I said, "Boy, this is not a place of judgment now. I need you to understand that you must talk to me." So hopefully you'll get a more sensitive son out of this. So, gents, choose one path. Take 2 actions. And hopefully you'll get 2 results.